in this session we are going to discuss about the manage the Linux kernel, where we will learn about the Linux kernel, about the modules, about the libraries, about the different files, their configuration, their locations. Okay, so let's start about the manage the kernel. So first start about the kernel. You should know about the Linux kernel. What is the Linux kernel? Linux kernel is a core system of the operating system of the Linux operating system. Core system. Core system means it is responsible to execute the processes and services and manage the system, manage the files, everything. So what it can do, it can manage the file system, their access, responsibility, different type of the security and other things are implemented over the file system. It is managed by the kernel. Not only the file system, it is also managing the memory related to the RAM and the virtual memory. Whatever the process is running or process is executed inside the Linux, it is executed by the kernel. For the example, if you are running the ls command, so ls command is a input, but it is reached to the kernel, and kernel will execute a process, and based on the process, the CPU process complete the process and give the output. Another is a devices, managing the devices, inbuilt devices and non-inbuilt devices. For the example, you have a hard disk, but how hard disk can communicate with the operating system? Hard disk cannot communicate. So there is some drivers are executed inside the kernel or by the kernel. So with the help of the drivers, the hard disk can communicate with the operating system. Right? Resources allocation. What resource who will access, and subject, what subject will access the what object. Okay, so it is all things managed by the kernel. So kernel has a separately two parts. One is a space, there is a two spaces. One space is, it is called kernel space, means kernel space is particular space where the kernel can execute the service that it provides. Any service, all the services will be executed inside the kernel space. And other is some users area where the user interacting with this, means this type of the area is a out of the kernel area. So this area known as a user space. So your user space is the area of the memory that includes everything outside of the kernel. Kernel is a core, every process executed on the core. But another outside the kernel, there is a user space where user will execute and work everything. Another is how kernel decided or can manage the devices. It is devices, all the devices is managed by the device driver. So what is the driver? What is the device driver? Device driver is a software program that enables a computer's operating system to identify the character and function of the hardware device. Character of the function of the hardware device. Hardware device include like keyboard, mouse, DVD player, hard disk, everything in the form of the hardware exists in your computer, which can be operate and functionality, provide the functionality and characteristic by the driver. So with the help of the driver, the operating system can communicate or kernel can communicate with the hardware device. If the driver does not exist, then there is no meaning of the device which is connected into your computer. And also not only communication, it is also having some operations, can manage some operations like control its operations. For the example, exit the device, read the device, open the device, and all. And this is the interface. Driver is the interface interface between the OS and the hardware device. When the system is boots, at the time of the booting a system, the drivers also loaded. Because until the driver does not load, the operating system cannot communicate with the hardware. Kernel version, there is two types of the version in a kernel, or there is two parts. One part it is called major version, another is a minor version. Major version like 5 is a major version for the example, but 16.16 is a minor version. So what does it mean? Does it means like there is a biggest or the big version has been released, its name is a 5. Later on there is a short updation are coming within the month, within the 6 month, within the 2 days, within the 1 week, it's depend. So they are considered like 1, 2, 3. For the example, there is a one system which is or one kernel which is upgraded after the 1 year. So we can decide, or administrator can or developer can decide the name of this, like this is the 2023, the year 2023, this is the year, and every year the minor version like in a January 0.1, in a February 0.2, in a March release 0.3, in a April release 0.4, May, June and December, so on. So it is called major version and the minor version. So if you want to check the kernel version, you can run this command uname -a. So it is display the version of the, it's like Fedora 5.14, 5.14 is this. Okay. So this command can be used. Just log in over the RH or Debian based Kali Linux or Ubuntu. Then you can run the uname, you mean R display the kernel release, S displays the kernel name, -a displays the all the kernel information.